Whoa, oh, oh. La, da, 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 oh, oh. La, da, 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 oh, oh.
Hi everyone, my name is Heather. Today I'm creating a little journal that I'm calling my glitter journal, and I want this journal to be really little, and I love these old red book covers. I've been saving them for a while and I think they'll just be perfect for Christmas. So I'm using my craft tool to cut a score line in that book board, and I'm just using the other cover as my guide, but you could use a ruler. That would probably be a little better choice. So once I have that scored, I'm just going to bend it back and forth to break off that piece. And then I'm going to create another piece that is the same size so that I can have front and back of the littler size. So those pieces measure 2 3/4 of an inch across by 4 1/4 inch long. I love the concept of making mini journals because they are so easy to make, they're fun, they're easy to decorate, and you can usually make them in an afternoon. So for this year, Christmas has just arrived for me. I haven't had a whole lot of time to do any Christmas creating, or I just haven't been very productive this year as far as that goes. So I wanted to make something a little more simple, but still really pretty. My process for cutting down those book boards was a little bit messy, not super precise, so I'm just smoothing out the edges of those book boards, but I'm not paying too much attention to whether they're perfectly smooth or perfectly straight. I feel like it just adds to the character.
Till the sun comes up.
So now I'm just choosing the papers that I want to put on the inside of this journal, and I'm purposely making the pages a little bigger than the front and back covers. So the largest paper that I have, which is the one I'm actually putting in right now, is 3 1/4 inch by 5 inches. So those papers are going to be a little bigger than the covers, and I'm purposely doing that so that later on, whenever I add the glitter, you can see the little bit of glitter on the edges of the pages and it peeks out from the journal. I just think that's so cute. So now I'm just going to keep choosing papers to put on the inside, and we're going to be doing a binding that you just do hole punches on the sides of the journal and then thread the pages through. I'm going to use metallic thread in this video, but like you could use twine or you could use rope or any different types of small thin ribbon, anything like that. You can see that I have those ring binders on the side there. I was originally going to do a ring bound journal, but then I changed my mind and I put I'm going to use silver metallic thread. This is a coffee filter that I tea dyed, and I'm primarily just using a lot of neutrals for the pages, a lot of sheet music and ledgers and things like that. And I'm making a little pocket out of that coffee filter. I also chose that 25 envelope on purpose for the Christmas date, and it is a printable in my Etsy shop. It's in the envelopes #1 kit. So I think that looks really cute.
Spend my time running around, keeping people pleased. But this is my favorite holiday. It's a chance to start over new. 'Cause I missed you, so I'm letting go of everything but you.
I'm really paying attention to how all of the pages are layering on top of each other so that you can see a lot of the different pages, the edges of the pages peeking out from the book covers.
Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, and I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, oh. La, da, 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 oh, oh, oh. La, da, 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 oh, oh, oh. La, da, da, da. Making our Christmas it's like, so you should come back home to me. And when we wake up in the morning, I'm gonna play those carols that you love. We'll be singing all the melodies until the sun comes up. These are the good times with you. Baby, this year it's just gonna be you and me. Hang by the fire and chill. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, and I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories.
All of the papers that I'm using are just a bunch of scraps that I had from other projects. So this one is, I had painted on there with some watercolor, some gold watercolor and pink watercolor. So I love that paper. I think it's so pretty.
With you. Don't even care what we do if I spend it with you. Just you and nobody else. It's so good to see you again, to see you again. Baby, this year it's just gonna be you and me. Hang by the fire, chill. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, and I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories.
So now I'm just going back through all the pages and I'm going to correct any of the ones that are a little too big or they're not laying right. And then I'm going to reorder the pages to make sure they're all in there how I'd like the order of the pages to go.
Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play. Santa Claus is packing the presents, making sure you've been behaving okay. Merry Christmas, honey. Yeah. The snowman's dusting off his hat.
So as I put these papers back together, I'm making sure that I line up all the papers on the left side so that they're all evenly placed along that left side, because that's where the holes are going to get punched.
Something that happens when sleigh bells are ringing, when December is, when the children are singing, yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Ooh, yeah. There's room at the table for big and for small. All the fire is popping, the chestnuts are cracking, yeah. Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas, baby. The snow is laying 2 feet deep. Now wish upon a falling star, so all your secret dreams can come true. There's something that happens when sleigh bells are ringing, when December is, when the children are singing, yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Ooh, yeah. There's room at the table for big and for small.
So now I have all my papers how I want them, and they're all lined up on the left side. And then I'm adding the clips so that they stay put whenever I go to use the hole punch. If you have a crocodile, you can punch through all the pages at one time. And if you just use a regular hole punch, you might have to do a few at a time. But make sure that you're punching in far enough away from the side edge. On this one, I actually was a little too close to the edge, and I'm going to be going back in to repair some of those pages that they were just too close to the edge and would have ended up tearing later.
Yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby.
So I'm taking one of the papers and I'm using that as my guide to add the holes for the front and back book covers.
Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play. Santa Claus is packing the presents, making sure you've been behaving okay. Merry Christmas, hon.
So I'm taking these little strips of paper and I'm adding them to the edge of the back side of every paper. And I'm just doing that to reinforce those edges so that whenever I thread the thread through as the binding, it doesn't pull on the paper and rip it. And then also I'm using this as a way to correct some of my mistakes where I got my holes a little bit too close to the edge of the paper, because then I can glue the paper on and make it come out a little bit farther. So you could actually do this process before you punch your holes, which might be a little simpler, but I was glad that I waited to do it after because it allowed me to correct some of those ones where I got a little bit too close, but then you have to go back and re-punch the holes on every page. So it's a little bit time consuming, but you get through it pretty quickly.
Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas, baby.
So this is one of those papers where I got a little too close to the edge, and you can see how I'm pulling that paper out a little bit so that it's not as close whenever I go to re-punch the holes.
There's something that happens when sleigh bells are ringing, when December is, when the children are singing, yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Ooh, yeah. There's room at the table for big and for small. All the fire is popping, the chestnuts are cracking, yeah. Merry Christmas, baby. There's something that happens when something that happens when December ends, when December ends, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas, baby. It's Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby.
On this page, I'm using a little bit of washi tape to reinforce that one hole, just kind of reviewing each page to see how it needs reinforced, if it's sturdy enough to withstand, being bound through those holes. And washi tape is another good option to put along the edges if you want to reinforce your holes because it's nice and strong and it would prevent tearing. So now that I have all my pages ready, I'm going to go ahead and thread this metallic thread through the binding so that I can tie it in a knot. But this thread is actually some type of embroidery floss. It's a little bit thicker than typical thread. And I'm going to be doubling it up. And then once I pass it through all the holes, I'm going to tie it in a knot. I'm going to leave it a little bit loose at the very end once I have the journal completely done. Then I'm going to go back and retie it and cut it how I want it to be for final. But for right now, I'm going to leave myself some room because as I decorate the inside of the journal, it's going to puff up a little bit. So you can see how I left the threads long there. Eventually, I'm going to go back in and cut those, but not until I'm completely finished with the journal. So now that we have the binding in place, you can see how all the pages look. It looks really cute. I like how those little strips, the reinforced strips on the back of each page look. I think that looks really nice. So I am going to do a second part to this video of just the final flip through of the journal decorated, but I am just going to add this first part as just creating the journal, getting it assembled and together, and then I'm going to also do the cover as well. So for the front cover, I'm going to make a tag out of this little girl in her red hat and coat. I think she is so cute, and I love the red with the red book cover. I think that it would look really nice together. So I have a scrap of an antique photo mat there with the gold on it, and I'm using that as my base for the tag. And then I'm just going to clip that onto the front cover as the cover decoration. And this little girl is part of a kit in my Etsy called Stars Shining Bright, and that kit is probably one of my favorite Christmas kits. So I'm adding a little bit of glass glitter to the front of the cover of the journal, and then I'm also going to be adding a little bit to the pages, just the edges of the pages. And I use the Meyer Imports 90 grit silver German glass glitter. And if you Google that, you'll find it, or I have purchased it on Amazon as well.